With the summer hastened to its end, a chance to re-evaluate and re-inspire. At the Emirates, Unai Emery appointed to get the gunners firing. Liverpool welcomed Alisson, Fabinho and Naby Keita, as Jurgen Klopp's rock and roll football had suffered from the lack of a rock at the back. Chelsea appointed Maurizio Sarri and signed the most expensive goalkeeper in history, Kepa Arrizabalaga. Tottenham were looking to usher in a new era, waving goodbye to Wembley. And there were new beginnings for the Toffees and the Hammers, whilst the three promoted teams prepared to tackle England's top division. The 2018-19 season commenced at the home of the Premier League's most distinguished side. Manchester United welcomed Leicester, hoping that France's World Cup winner, Paul Pogba, could guide the Red Devils back to glory.
Shaw. Sanchez. Boys of handball, penalty. And who is going to step up but Paul Pogba? And he has their first significant kick of the season. Not bad for starters.
The hosts were off and running, and deep into the second half, their advantage was doubled. A stoppage-time header from substitute Jamie Vardy offered little solace for Claude Puel. The damage already done as United reigned triumphant on opening night.
Liverpool spent more than £150 million in the summer. But a familiar favourite thrilled the Kop as Mohamed Salah helped condemn Manuel Pellegrini to a debut 4-0 defeat. Tottenham were the first club since 2003 not to make a single summer signing. Even so, Dele Alli's header ensured Spurs overcame Newcastle. There was no blue feeling for Maurizio Sarri against Huddersfield Town as he made the perfect start to his Chelsea tenure with a 3-0 win. New signing Jorginho netted on his debut. As Arsene Wenger bade adieu after 22 years at the helm of Arsenal, former PSG manager Unai Emery endured a nightmare start. Manchester City coasted past the hosts 2-0, the champions faultless.
For the Gunners, there was no respite as they ventured across the capital to Stamford Bridge for a clash of the newcomers. The contest began in a thrilling but chaotic fashion as Arsenal fought back from 2 goals down in a frenzied first half.
Tarian and swept in for the equaliser. Alex Iwobi, 2 in 4 minutes for Arsenal, who've come from nowhere to be level.
The second half paled in comparison to the first as both sides cautiously looked for the edge. But 9 minutes from time, Marcos Alonso stole the show.
No hint of complacency from Manchester City in their 6-goal demolition of Huddersfield Town. Sergio Aguero scoring his 9th Premier League hat-trick. Brighton and Hove Albion edged a 5-goal thriller against Manchester United as tensions began to rise between Jose Mourinho and Paul Pogba. Watford claimed their best ever start to a Premier League season with a 2-1 victory over Crystal Palace. 3 wins from 3 for the Hornets. Unai Emery's Arsenal recorded their first league success against West Ham United, who were yet to pick up a point. Despite spending more than £100 million following promotion, Fulham's first win came at the 3rd attempt, a 4-2 victory over a struggling Burnley.
As the final game of August arrived, Old Trafford cried out for a sense of fulfilment. A loss at the hands of Brighton meant that the spotlight shone brightly on Jose Mourinho, whose stock had looked far from special of late.
Kieran Trippier set piece. And Kane is up! And Kane scores! It's Tottenham who break through at Old Trafford. And Jose's problems pile up. Lucas Moura too! Twice in a choice! Spurs have ripped into United, Trafford is stunned here. Where to look?
United's woe only deepened in a truly chastening night. Tottenham were rampant, but defeat meant the hosts had lost 2 of their opening 3 league games for the first time since 1992.
An awful end to August left Manchester United in the bottom half of the table, while 7 teams remained without a win. At the summit, 4 teams possessed perfect records, while Manchester City dropped points at Wolves. Arsenal and Everton picked up their first wins under new management. After being held to a 1-1 draw at Wolves, the champions bounced back to defeat a winless Newcastle 2-1. In Cardiff, Arsenal fought for their first 3 points on the road under Emery, edging out the spirited Bluebirds in a pulsating 5-goal encounter. Wolves roared into life as they won 1-0 at West Ham, whose clutch of new arrivals were yet to find their feet. And Tottenham's drubbing of Manchester United seemed like a distant memory, as a stirring Watford comeback secured their first ever Premier League victory over Spurs.
Tottenham were wounded, but there was little time for reprieve as Liverpool arrived and the Reds were in exhilarating form. A fixture originally earmarked as the first in Spurs' new stadium, but delays meant that Liverpool's biggest test of the season so far would be at Wembley.
Corner's corner, form didn't get much on it and had to claw it out a second time, but the goal has been given. And Liverpool, courtesy of Georgino Wijnaldum and goal line technology, have a lead at Wembley. Sadio Mane round the back, aimed in for Firmino, it's against the post and in by Firmino! And Liverpool have doubled their lead.
A late Tottenham strike proved to be just a footnote. The Liger bird was well and truly taking flight. The Reds 15 points from 15 and sitting right at the top of the tree.
Marco Silva's Everton fell short against West Ham in a 3-1 defeat. Manuel Pellegrini's first win as Hammers boss, including a pair for summer signing Andriy Yarmolenko. Chelsea came out on top against Cardiff thanks to a brilliant Eden Hazard hat-trick. A 5th consecutive win for Maurizio Sarri that left Cardiff still searching for the winning formula. And their misery worsened as Manchester City hit them for 5 the following week. New recruit Riyad Mahrez grabbing his first goals since his move from Leicester City. After a draw with Wolves and a shock cup exit at the hands of Derby, Manchester United's struggles continued at West Ham. A humbling 3-1 defeat in United's worst start to a league season in 29 years. Arsenal have found some consistency. A late show against Watford gave them their 5th successive league victory and secured a perfect September for the Gunners.
To southwest London, as 2 of the principal contenders to the English throne faced off with their unbeaten records on the line.
On his way, problem for Gomez. Eden Hazard scores! How good is he? Just how good is he right now? Daniel Sturridge! Oh, sensational! A stellar hit from Daniel Sturridge! Oh, what a hit! And Liverpool are level!
A sensational strike in a truly breathtaking game. On as even as both remained unbeaten, both still unbound.
That result ensured Liverpool's unbeaten start remained intact as they stayed level at the top with Manchester City. Arsenal were level on points with Tottenham. At the bottom, Newcastle, Cardiff and Huddersfield were yet to register a win, but there were signs Burnley could put a troubling start behind them. After a tempestuous opening to the season, Jose Mourinho strode into the cauldron of Old Trafford with speculation mounting that defeat against Newcastle could be the final straw. A torrid first half saw Manchester United crumble 2 goals down before a stirring second half comeback to prevail in a 5-goal thriller. Watford were humbled 4-0 at home to Bournemouth, with summer signing David Brooks dazzling. Bernd Leno made his first league starting goal as Arsenal put in a 5-star display at Fulham, where Aaron Ramsey set his contract uncertainty aside in an exquisite Gunners move.
Nikitari, good ball back for Aubameyang. Ramsey's there! Wonderful! Absolutely wonderful! And that was a touch of brilliance from Aaron Ramsey.
To Anfield on edge, where the contenders pitted their wits against the champions. But in a fixture billed as one of the standout contests in the Premier League season so far, one moment proved defining in an underwhelming affair.
Leroy Sané. It goes Van Dijk. It is a penalty. 6 minutes out from time at Anfield. The champions have their chance against the challengers. What a substantial moment in the young Manchester City career of Riyad Mahrez. He has put his hand up in the moment. This is courage, significant courage. Dehi. Riyad Mahrez has blazed it high and horrible. And it hurts, and Anfield hollers.
And so, a truce was called. 90 minutes of a heavyweight battle over. A stalemate on Merseyside, with all the talk about a miss and not a hit. Chelsea was still unblemished, unafraid and unrecognisably bold compared to the pale blue of the spring. Manchester United historically flashy, but currently oh so flawed.
Brilliant strike, Rudiger's goal! Chelsea's lead! Thumping, untended header from Antonio Rudiger! Blue bliss!
The visitors were shocked, but they soon got their just reward for a dominating display. An Anthony Martial double turned the game on its head as United sailed into the lead at the home of the unbeaten Blues.
And towards Louis! Against the post! Rudiger! And smashed home by Ross Barkley! And Chelsea rescue a point in the 96th minute of 96! Confounded! And I'm afraid that somebody has clashed with Jose Mourinho in the moment. That was neither wise nor sporting.
An extraordinary finale, an extraordinary game of football. 2 points snatched away from the visitors as Chelsea remained untarnished whilst Mourinho left incensed.
Back on Merseyside, Liverpool ruthlessly dispatched Cardiff 4-1. The Reds enjoying their joint best start to a Premier League season. For all the joy and pain that football delivers, the sport's true importance was put into stark perspective by the tragedy on the 27th of October 2018. Following Leicester City's draw with West Ham United, a helicopter crash outside the King Power Stadium claimed 5 lives, including Leicester owner Vijay Sriadhanaprabha. The month ended at Wembley as Tottenham welcomed title-chasing Manchester City. A 6-minute strike from Riyad Mahrez was the only goal of the match, and the former Leicester winger paid tribute to Vijay. Mahrez's winner took City level with Liverpool. Arsenal leapfrogged North London rivals Tottenham, who were a point clear of high-flying Bournemouth. At the other end, Newcastle and Huddersfield continued their poor starts. Cardiff finally achieved a victory, and Brighton enjoyed a perfect October.
Arsenal hosted Liverpool knowing that they had only prevailed against a top-6 side once in their previous 9 attempts. For Unai Emery, a statement was required, and Jurgen Klopp's outstanding Reds embodied the sternest of tests.
Dash from Sadio Mane, and Leno couldn't keep it, and Milner crashed it home, and Liverpool snatched the lead. James Milner, right man, right place. Iwobi, Lacazette, Alisson is committed. Lacazette scores! That's a super goal. What composure, what presence of mind.
Frenetic night in North London finished level as Arsenal dazzled under the floodlights, whilst Liverpool remained unbeaten.
Manchester City went 2 points clear at the top as they hit a woeful Southampton for 6. Sergio Aguero underlined his superstar status by scoring his 150th goal for the club. Chelsea's 3-1 success against Crystal Palace left the Eagles winless since September, while the Blues climbed to second. Tottenham held their nerve to overcome Wolves in a 5-goal thriller at Molineux to restore their position in the top 4. There was finally relief on Tyneside as a win over Watford gave Newcastle their first 3 points of the campaign. A feat also achieved by Huddersfield, who edged out relegation rivals Fulham 1-0. The first time the Terriers had netted at home in 659 minutes.
Manchester City was scintillatingly superior to almost anything they had faced. But the Manchester derby represented an entirely different entity. History, expectation and demand were all no longer relevant.
Sterling attacking Lingard and feeding it for Bernardo Silva and David Silva. Silva turns to City gold. And the best team in the land are right now the best team in Manchester.
A gulf in class was all too evident as the citizens powered their way to a second. An erratic Ederson gave United a lifeline from the spot, but it was to prove in vain as City reasserted their authority as the leading team in Manchester.
Bernardo Silva, Ilkay Gundogan settles it.
Liverpool kept pace at the top as they defeated Fulham by 2-0. However, loss number 9 of the campaign led to the season's first managerial casualty. Fulham's Slavisa Jokanovic was replaced by Claudio Ranieri, who got off to an ideal start. A 3-2 triumph over Southampton left Saints with just a solitary win to their name and Mark Hughes under pressure. After a trio of draws, Arsenal returned to winning ways with 3 points in Bournemouth thanks to Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang's winner. The Gunners hadn't lost since facing Chelsea in August. The side from Stamford Bridge had undoubtedly surpassed expectations to that point, but at Wembley the first hint of doubt as Tottenham ran out 3-1 winners. Maurizio Sarri's first league loss as Blues boss. That win meant Spurs leapfrogged Chelsea into 3rd place, while Manchester City moved 2 points clear at the summit. At the end of November, Southampton was struggling and Burnley were in free fall. Huddersfield and Newcastle have managed to haul themselves out of the bottom 3.
The final month of 2018 began with a bang. 2 age-old rivalries facing off in 2 games of great magnitude. Anfield hosted a derby on Merseyside, but first, North London for a spectacle that didn't take long to catch a light.
Aubameyang, Arsenal have an early lead.
The atmosphere was pulsating, but Arsenal's rip-roaring start was soon turned on its head after a quick-fire double for Tottenham. Into the second half, and the Gunners powered in an equaliser before Alex Lacazette sent the Emirates into raptures.
Lucas Torreira with his first goal in English football, and what a time to score it.
An irrepressible Arsenal finally had their statement victory under Unai Emery. But before a breath could be caught, all eyes turned to Anfield for the rich history of the Merseyside derby.
Out by Zuma, rescued by Van Dijk. Oh, and in by Origi! 95 minutes plus in front of the Kop! Divock Origi from out in the cold to the very heat of the climax of a derby battle. Wow, these stories make no sense. There is no logic. You cannot say why. You really cannot say how. Liverpool have won it. Goodness knows how. By a goal to nil.
At St Mary's, a 2-2 draw with Manchester United led to the sacking of Southampton's Mark Hughes. Former RB Leipzig manager Ralph Hasenhüttl was introduced to replace the Welshman. As Liverpool were building momentum, Manchester City couldn't afford to take their foot off the gas. A 2-1 win in Watford maintained their slender 2-point advantage at the top. And the same scoreline saw Wolves defeat Chelsea as the Blues slipped to 10 points behind leaders City. For Manchester United and Arsenal, gone were the days of domestic supremacy. An error-strewn match saw the pair play out a 2-2 draw at Old Trafford. It left Arsenal 5th and United a further 8 points adrift. At Turf Moor, Burnley continued their battle to recover the previous season's form. The 1-0 win over Brighton was the Clarets' first in September. For Liverpool, a 10th clean sheet of the season, coupled with a Mo Salah hat-trick at Bournemouth, sent the Reds to the top prior to Manchester City's heavyweight clash at Stamford Bridge.
The unbeaten powerhouse of Manchester City made its way to southwest London, bidding to continue their remarkable start to the campaign. Chelsea were wounded, but remained fearless at Stamford Bridge.
Sucker punch. It can be a crazy game. It's Chelsea's day.
The cloak of invincibility was removed from Manchester City, with Chelsea the ones to lower their colours at long last.
Ralph Hasenhüttl's first win at Southampton came in a 5-goal affair against Arsenal. Saints' first home victory since April ended a 22-match unbeaten run in all competitions for the Gunners. Former Southampton boss Mauricio Pochettino chalked up his 100th league win as Tottenham manager as his side beat a resilient Burnley 1-0 to go 5 points behind City.
Once more, the Premier League turned its attention to Liverpool as two emblematic clubs of two great northern powerhouse cities faced off in front of the world.
Fabinho. Mane! Anfield ignites!
Liverpool were thriving, and even an unexpected Man United leveller couldn't halt the irresistible hosts. The Kop was raucous as Liverpool regained control.
Shaqiri wins it in front of the Kop!
With United 19 points behind their rivals, that defeat proved to be the final straw for Jose Mourinho. Former player, Cardiff manager and Molde boss Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was ushered in until the end of the campaign.
And Manchester United score 5 in a Premier League game for the first time since Sir Alex Ferguson's farewell 5.5 years ago.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got his United tenure off to the perfect start as the Red Devils hit Cardiff for 5.
Everton also scored 5 away at Burnley, getting their first win of December in emphatic fashion.
With the curtain coming down on 2018, the title race remained on a knife's edge. With Liverpool and Man City vying for supremacy, Tottenham's fine form had rocketed them into the conversation.
At Molineux, Liverpool cruised to a 2-0 victory that left them sitting top of the tree at Christmas. 4 points ahead of Manchester City, who were stunned by a 3-2 defeat to Crystal Palace.
Townsend! That is an unbelievable strike!
Sensing their opportunity, Tottenham crushed Everton 6-2 to go 2 points behind second-place City, who couldn't summon a response at Leicester. A Ricardo Pereira strike left City 7 points shy of leaders Liverpool, who'd thrashed Newcastle. Tottenham then hit Bournemouth for 5 to leapfrog Pep Guardiola's side. But 3 days later, Wolves shocked Spurs by winning 3-1 at Wembley. Liverpool ended the year as the outright leaders, and the front-runners were relentless in their pursuit of excellence. Jurgen Klopp's team carved apart Arsenal in a 5-1 victory at Anfield. It appeared 2019 could be a very good year for the Reds. Manchester City responded with victory at Southampton, but Liverpool finished 2018 with a 7-point cushion. Solskjaer had guided Manchester United to 3 consecutive wins. Bottom club Huddersfield sat 5 points behind Burnley and revitalised Southampton, while Crystal Palace had enjoyed a profitable December.
"2019 began with the coming together of the champions and those who would be kings. Liverpool remained unbeaten and were setting a pace so rapid all other challengers had been left in their wake.
And there is Aguero! Wonderful, fulminating, fabulous, fantastic! Is that the goal that reinvigorates the title race?
City made it clear they weren't willing to relinquish their grasp on the Premier League trophy. Into the second half, and the citizens were unhinged courtesy of Roberto Firmino before Leroy Sané stung the visitors and stole the lead.
2-1. That is a proper response. To take one on the chin and then go land a haymaker at the other end.
A night when the champions reasserted themselves and put the challengers in their place for the time being.
Down among the strugglers, Huddersfield had a penalty decision overturned in a goalless draw in Cardiff. It proved to be David Wagner's final game in charge of the Terriers. He was replaced by Borussia Dortmund's under-23 boss Jan Sievert. At the London Stadium, Arsenal's top 4 hopes suffered a setback as they fell to West Ham in a 1-0 defeat.
At Wembley, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer passed his first major test as Manchester United boss with flying colours in a 1-0 win away to Tottenham. A 5th consecutive win for Solskjaer, equalling Sir Matt Busby's Man United record.
Pogba. Oh, what a super pass. And this is Marcus Rashford to score a wonderful goal for Manchester United.
United moved level on points with 5th-placed Arsenal.
After Liverpool defeated Brighton, Manchester City's response was to cruise to victory against Wolves. A 3-0 win keeping them 4 points behind the Reds. Wolves responded with a 4-3 victory over Leicester. After going 2 behind, the Foxes clawed the score back to 3-3 late on, but a stoppage-time strike from Diogo Jota left Claude Puel's future in the balance. Liverpool came from behind against Crystal Palace to take the spoils in an exhilarating 7-goal encounter that included Mo Salah's 50th Premier League goal.
The Emirates Stadium hosted a titanic clash as Arsenal and Chelsea went bicep to bicep in a battle that held great significance in the pursuit of a top 4 position.
Bellerin. Lacazette. Oh, wonderful! That is a crackerjack of a goal.
An unconventional second gave the Gunners control. Victory lifting the hosts to 3 points behind their uninspired opponents.
On Saturday the 19th of January, Cardiff City broke their club record transfer fee to sign Emiliano Sala from French club Nantes. But 2 days later, the Argentine boarded a flight to the Welsh capital. The plane carrying Sala and pilot David Ibbotson didn't reach its destination. At Cardiff's next home match, the club and fans paid their respects. With Alvaro Morata joining Atletico Madrid on loan, Chelsea brought in Gonzalo Higuain from Juventus for the remainder of the campaign. But it was Bournemouth who flexed their attacking muscle in a thumping 4-0 win. After 8 victories in a row in all competitions, Manchester City's title ambitions took a huge blow on Tyneside as they fell 2-1 to Newcastle. Attention swiftly turned to Anfield, where Liverpool had the opportunity to go 7 points clear of the reigning champions. Sadio Mane provided the perfect start, but Claude Puel's side fought back to secure a potentially damaging draw. Tottenham staged a late comeback against Watford as they avenged their defeat from earlier in the season to close the gap to second place to 2 points. Jurgen Klopp's side ended January with a 5-point lead. Arsenal leapfrogged Chelsea into the top 4, with Solskjaer's United hot on their heels. Huddersfield remained at the foot of the table as their grasp on survival was loosening. Burnley switched places with Cardiff, while Southampton were impressing under Hasenhüttl. Manchester United made it 10 games unbeaten in all competitions under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, with a 1-0 win against a stuttering Leicester. At the Etihad, Manchester City extended Arsenal's poor record away at a top 6 rival and cut the gap to leaders Liverpool to just 2 points with a 3-1 win. Jurgen Klopp's side couldn't respond in kind at West Ham as Mikel Antonio cancelled out Sadio Mane's opener. City continued to capitalise. A midweek 2-0 triumph over Everton put them level on points with the Reds with a superior goal difference, albeit from a game more.
Pep Guardiola's side had started February in an imperious manner, and triumph over Chelsea would see them sail serenely to the top of the division after Liverpool defeated Bournemouth.
It's Bernardo Silva, and Raheem Sterling rattles it home. And once more, City are in front in a trice.
Man City's unrelenting starts had become a foundation for their devastating performances, but few had crumbled in the style of Chelsea. City's fizzing attack overwhelmed the passive Blues in a first-half implosion at the Etihad Stadium.
Aguero, match ball, again and again and again. 15 Manchester City hat-tricks, 11 Premier League hat-tricks. Goal after goal, record after record.
Mesmerising from Manchester City. Raheem Sterling added a 6th as they utterly outclassed a woeful Chelsea.
Cardiff secured back-to-back wins and climbed out of the relegation zone at the expense of opponent Southampton. A 4-1 defeat to Crystal Palace meant that Leicester had lost 4 consecutive home league games for the first time in 19 years. That led to Claude Puel's dismissal. His replacement would be Celtic manager Brendan Rodgers. At Newcastle, January signing Miguel Almiron, who joined from Atlanta United for a club record-equalling fee, made his full debut in a 2-0 win over Huddersfield. Tottenham's title aspirations suffered a big setback at Turf Moor as Burnley ran out 2-1 winners, leaving Spurs 6 points shy of top spot. A 2-0 defeat against Southampton was a 7th loss in 8 games for Fulham. First-team coach Scott Parker was subsequently placed in caretaker charge as Claudio Ranieri's short reign came to an abrupt end. 3 days after defeating Chelsea in the League Cup final, Manchester City followed up with a 1-0 victory over West Ham. But Liverpool reacted with a 5-0 win over Watford as they climbed back to the top.
Chelsea's valiant cup final effort was just a mere footnote as Kepa Arrizabalaga's substitution refusal stole the headlines. The Blues were desperate for salvation and hoped the prospect of Tottenham would induce a renewed sense of fight.
Pedro, he squeezed it in! And finally, Chelsea pierce Spurs!
Tottenham's title hopes were fading rapidly, whilst defensive calamity breathed new life into Chelsea.
That defeat meant Tottenham's focus was shifting to achieving a top-4 finish as the front-runners pulled away. Cardiff were valiantly trying to stay in the battle for survival. Brighton's winless 2019 had left them in a precarious position.
March began with a confrontation in the capital. Tottenham were wounded, their title hopes in tatters, and Arsenal just over their shoulder.
Now Lacazette, Ramsey has half the length of the field here. He is onside, he's one-on-one with Lloris, and he's scored for Arsenal.
Spurs, uninspired, laboured, were gifted a route back before another twist, another piece of drama in the final few moments.
A kick of the football to divide the capital. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is denied, and Spurs survive.
Manchester City produced a dominant performance on the south coast, but only beat Bournemouth 1-0. Enough to send City top prior to the Merseyside derby, which proved to be hugely frustrating for Liverpool. A goalless draw at Goodison for Jurgen Klopp's side. A 3-1 victory over Fulham saw Brendan Rodgers pick up his first win as Leicester manager. January loan signing Yuri Tielemans netted his first goal for the Foxes. After a euphoric Champions League victory in Paris, Manchester United tasted Premier League defeat for the first time under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, which improved Arsenal's top-4 prospects. But Chelsea's top-4 hopes suffered a setback as Everton ended a barren home run to win 2-0 at Goodison Park. With Manchester City still involved in the FA Cup, Liverpool took the chance to leap into first place. James Milner's penalty edged out Fulham 2-1. At Old Trafford, Ole had earned the job by winning 14 of his first 19 matches in charge in all competitions. Solskjaer appointed full-time manager on a 3-year contract, and he began his permanent reign with 3 points as Manchester United beat Watford 2-1. A 2-0 loss for Huddersfield at Crystal Palace left the Terriers down and out, equalling the record for the earliest relegation in a Premier League season. At Craven Cottage, Manchester City moved into pole position at the top as they brushed aside Fulham 2-0.
The race for glory had no margin for error. After City's win, Liverpool had to hold their nerve and summon a response. Their adversaries, Tottenham, whose decline had dragged them into the battle for fourth.
And Robertson ended it for Firmino! Release for Liverpool!
Despite leading, Anfield remained on edge. Then, with 20 minutes remaining, Lucas Moura broke Liverpool's resolve.
Alexander-Arnold, Mo Salah, Lloris has dropped it in! And Alderweireld has twitched it over the line! And in the 90th minute, Liverpool stay alive! You wonder, you have to wonder what it's meant to be.
Liverpool were leading the pack, having played a game more, while Arsenal moved into third. Wolves were 7th ahead of Brendan Rodgers' revived Foxes. After 32 games, Huddersfield were the first relegation casualty. Fulham looked likely to follow, with Cardiff in deep trouble too. "689 days on from their last league fixture at White Hart Lane, it was finally a case of welcome home for Tottenham. The Tottenham Hotspur Stadium opened its doors at the start of April, hosting a 2-0 victory over Crystal Palace. New boys Fulham had endured a tumultuous campaign. Their fate was finally confirmed as they fell to a 4-1 defeat at Watford. The Cottagers relegated with 5 games remaining. Match by match, neither Manchester City nor Liverpool were showing any signs of weakness. After City beat Cardiff, a resurgent Reds shrugged off a Southampton opener to fire in 3 at St Mary's. Eden Hazard continued his stellar campaign for Chelsea with one of the outstanding moments of the season in a 2-0 win over West Ham. After a shambolic 5-0 defeat at home to Bournemouth, Brighton's problems deepened in a crunch game with Cardiff. A 2-0 win for Neil Warnock's side gave the Bluebirds fresh hope, now just 2 points behind the Seagulls.
Anfield. Liverpool-Chelsea. A game steeped in history and a fixture oh so rarely lost by the Blues.
Salah. Henderson. Open goal! Liverpool goal! Sadio Mane! And the Kop erupts! There's the moment. Salah. Oh, wow! Oh! That is beyond special. Brilliant. A worldie and a half from Mohamed Salah.
Liverpool marched on with hope in their hearts that this was the year and that Manchester City will be fought until the bitter end.
After sensationally falling to Tottenham in the quarter-final of the Champions League, Manchester City exacted their revenge with a tense 1-0 win over Spurs in the league. It was all gloom for Manchester United, though, embarrassed by Everton in a 4-0 rout. The optimism engendered by Solskjaer's excellent start was ebbing away. Arsenal weren't faring any better. A 3-2 loss to Crystal Palace at the Emirates was followed by a 3-1 defeat at Wolves, which left the Gunners in 5th, a point behind Chelsea. Shane Long scored the fastest goal in Premier League history, taking just 7.69 seconds in Southampton's draw with FA Cup finalist Watford, breaking a record set by Ledley King in 2000.
A Manchester derby of great magnitude. City needed to beat their red neighbours to return to the summit. Anything less, Liverpool were the leaders of the pack. After a tense opening, the visitors soon took control. Bernardo Silva pierced red to give the citizens relief.
And now Sterling can scamper. Sane is square of him. This is Leroy Sane for Manchester City. They just will not be reeled in.
Just 3 games remained as the citizens fired ahead in one of the most enthralling title races to grace the Premier League.
The battle for the top 4 was also intensifying. Manchester United could only manage a draw at home to Chelsea, leaving the hosts 3 points adrift of the Blues. At the top, it was relentless. Liverpool made no mistake, imperious as they put 5 past Huddersfield, before Manchester City clawed their way to victory over Burnley. It could hardly have been closer.
Aguero! Hacked away from off the line, but goal! Con Aguero by millimetres! Title-winning margins!
City ended April a point clear of Liverpool with just 2 games to go. The battle for 4th remained finely balanced. Wolves continued their remarkable return to the Premier League. Cardiff's only chance of survival would be at the expense of Brighton. The gap now stood at 4 points. Southampton have retained their Premier League status for another year.
As the sun began to set on another engrossing Premier League campaign, many stories remained untold. At the bottom, despair waited for either Cardiff or Brighton. The race for continental football was enticingly poised, whilst the battle for glory was reaching its climax.
A win for Liverpool, and they will demand that City are perfect to the very end. Alexander Alexander-Arnold's delivery, Van Dijk! Simple, certain, searing, Liverpool back on top. It's come through to Matt Ritchie and Rondon and Ansu. One each.
Jurgen Klopp's side reacted impressively as Mo Salah hit his 22nd goal of the campaign. Into the second half, and Newcastle had woke from their slumber to deal Liverpool's title chances a blow.
Flung in by Shaqiri Origi! And Liverpool are fine on the time! And still they dream! The Reds will not be shaken off! And Divock Origi's come up with another! And it will go to the final day. Liverpool have taken this wonderful race to its final lap. Premier League's ultimate blow-for-blow five-setter. It is deuce, and City now serve for match point. Company had a look, had a hit! Oh! Captain fantastic! A wild celebration for a goal from his wildest dreams! A club legend. A moment from him which will go down in the legend of Manchester City, who will head south both as champions and as champions-elect. Unless Brighton kick over their castle down by the beach, they will be kings again.
For Cardiff City, a 3-2 defeat at home to Crystal Palace was the end of the road. Neil Warnock's side facing a return to the Championship after just one season. Despite Tottenham losing in Bournemouth, Arsenal's 1-1 draw with Brighton effectively ended the Gunners' pursuit of fourth. The hosts were 3 points behind Spurs, but with a drastically inferior goal difference. That result helped Chelsea cement their position in the top four, as Maurizio Sarri's side scored 3 second-half goals to beat Watford 3-0 at Stamford Bridge. A pitiful 1-1 scoreline at Huddersfield meant the League of Manchester United would have to settle for a place outside the top four for the 4th time since Sir Alex Ferguson departed.
The final weekend of an incredible journey arrived with the destination of the Premier League trophy undecided. The Reds welcomed Wolves knowing that it was no longer in their hands, as a win for Manchester City at Brighton would crown the citizens champions.
Lovely 1-2 between Alexander-Arnold and Henderson. Sadio Mane! Reds rejoice! It is a goal that takes Liverpool temporarily at least back to the top of the table.
It's got Rose to play it in. It's in! The arm shifts beneath City's feet. Laporte. Aguero! In a choice, he drags it back. On title day, Aguero again. Morris takes Laporte! And City now are where they need to be.
The citizens were in the ascendancy. Pep Guardiola's side was sprinting towards the finish line.
City champions, they got to the wire first, but only just, and at the end of the most exhilarating stride-by-stride race the Premier League has ever known.
Liverpool's bid for their first top-flight triumph in 29 years ended in failure. But the Reds still had a Champions League final against Tottenham to look forward to.
For weeks and months, perfection has been demanded in this title race, and they have delivered perfection. at the climax of one of the great title races in Premier League history. Still, the champions in 2019 are Manchester City.
The 2018-19 title race provided a gripping narrative, but only one team could be crowned. Chelsea and Arsenal prepared to lock horns in a Europa League final. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang fired the Gunners to 5th, and his 22 goals tied him for the Golden Boot with Mohamed Salah and Sadio Mane. Huddersfield, Fulham and Cardiff were all relegated. The Cottagers appointed Scott Parker as permanent manager ahead of their championship return. Brighton survived, but only just, not enough to save Chris Hughton, who was dismissed.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host for NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch highlights all season long and tune in for Premier League mornings every weekend at 7 a.m. Eastern on NBCSN. And for more than 1,400 hours of exclusive Premier League content, make sure to visit NBCsports.com/gold.